Hello, welcome to another episode of Commander Durdle. So we're looking at Conflux here. We've got our 180 cards from our fictitious 12 booster packs. And in this pool we were lucky enough to get a Gwafa, Hazid, Profiteer, and also a Malfigor. So I had a choice here. I decided to go with Gwafa, Hazid. With this one, I suppose there's always the danger that, you see, to get this to work, so let's have a look. Of course, if I discard your hand, each opponent sacrifices a creature for each card discarded this way. So you've got to get some pretty clever shenanigans going on to really leverage this ability. Otherwise, this really just turns into a black-red aggro build, I suppose. If you don't want to keep doing this. So, yeah, that didn't really appeal to me, but I did like the idea of just seeing. So this here makes you want to go around down a white-blue pillow fort build, I suppose. Yeah, I would think that would be the main thing. Obviously, there's other themes you could go with this, but to me, that's what sort of screams out here. In the Commander Fodder Stroke Commander Durdle episodes so far, I've obviously, well, I imagine I've done white-blue builds, but I don't know if I've done a pillow fort deck yet. So that's why this is my option of choice for this. And I was just really curious with the pool that we'll get remaining to seed the algorithm from this set once I've pruned out all the non-white and blue stuff and anything that doesn't really work in the deck, and just see where the architect algorithm takes us and what sort of cards come up, because it is a deck build that I'm not super familiar with, so we'll see what happens. Obviously there might be some marginal stuff I leave in, like sometimes I tend to leave equipment in if it's not really doing any harm, but again it's nice to leave those to the end and maybe take them out. The other thing I tend to do is leave in any mana fixing, like set specific mana fixing, just for sort of set reasons. So there might be a connection to there's obviously a connection to the set that it came from which the commander came from. I pointed out in the other video, because this is probably, we haven't seen that many card pools where the boosters had basic lands in them. We're moving into that era. So because this was a small set, the basic lands that are included in the booster or the basic land slot comes care of the large set of the block, which is Shards of Alara. So I will keep these. Again, I'll probably start off with a land base in the mid 30s and then sort of go from there. So obviously there's a lot of stuff here that I can't play. In fact, there's no sorceries at all which are playable for the colour identity of the commander. So they go straight out. The thing I should do here, just in case things go wildly wrong, I've been lucky for a number of weeks now, I am going to just create a copy of this deck, just in case. Okay, so let us just get rid of these. You've seen quite a few of these in the set musings. Sometimes it's useful, if you haven't, is to watch the set musings before you watch the episode of Commander Durdle, just so you're sort of familiar with the cards from the set. If you remember, there are a number of few cards in green which help with fixing. We're not playing green here, so we can't leverage those. And there were what was it? 3 artifacts that help in some way with mana fixing. So none of this. In terms of land here, so we're going to just ditch all the off-colour land, obviously. Keep our blue, our black. Oh, there's our exotic orchard. There's our reliquary tower. We actually got multiple copies of that. That was at uncommon, so I suppose with 12 packs that's not unusual. And we'll leave the Rupture Spire in here. So I'm just going to get this up to somewhere around here. It is quite like a low cost commander, so I could potentially play less land, but let's just do that for the moment and then see where it takes us. Right. So if you remember, we had these basic land cyclers in here. I suppose it's an interesting way of fixing mana in a blue-white deck. Didn't think of that. So for 1 and a white, we get to go and find land. And we come back to that. I'll take that down to 1. Counterspell, yeah. Was all of a set counterspell. I've got to be careful I don't accidentally remove things. So we obviously can't play black. Worldly Council. Oh, so this is the main one. Yeah, the 2-colour deck. I don't know if I want to leave that in. Target creature goes flying to end of turn. Turn view. So interesting. I guess that bounces back to my hand if I'm controlling any white permanent. So I get a repeatable thing where I can give a creature flying until end of turn. I mean, I don't really care about necessarily making my commander evasive, because this is just a tap ability that targets a creature. So, but I wonder for other creatures whether it would be fun to have that. I'll just leave it in for the moment. Oh, unsummon. Regular cycling. No. Got counter score, but we can't play that. Can't play that. Yeah, we're going to lose a lot of domain cards here, even for the on-colour ones. Yoke of the Damned. Bye-bye. Too specific. Interesting. From Chanted Creatures, that creature's flying, first strike and vigilance. Why not? Right, bye-bye. Sidraxis. Yeah, you'll know from the block as well, a lot of artifacts, creatures, coloured artifacts. And it gets really interesting in the Nest set to do with colours, actually, which we'll see next week when we get on to Alara Reborn. Some following on from, when we were looking at elemental artwork from the previous 2 mini blocks, there's a lot of interesting elemental artwork in this block, actually. Extracted Demon, so yeah, that was the legend that I decided not to play. So Parasitic Strix is... oh no, no good for us. Should I just yeah, let's just leave Inkwell Leviathan in there. Why not? We've got it. We'll play it. Grixis Illusionist. I see land you control becomes... okay, yeah, it's the way of fixing. Top 3 cards. Yeah, not... do I see myself playing a lot of artifacts? Oh, it's just a one hit. Yeah, I don't know. Keep return else for you control to its owner's hand. Why would I want to do that? No. I mean, it's useful with ETB artifacts that have ETB triggers on them, actually. But I don't know if I'm planning on doing that. 4/4 for 3 with Unearth. No, this is not really an Unearth deck. Vectress, bye-bye, bye-bye. Blood Giant. All those things, oddly a toe. They were like a 5/4 for 4, and they had this at the beginning of upkeep sacrifice. Unless you pay green. Oh, Thalids are in the set. Green had pro artifacts. Oh, the beasts I mentioned about the beasts being a good set for sort of, you know, your beast tribal deck. Domain, of course, was the thing in this set. Just touching red. Oh, Hellspark Elemental. Oh, 3 ones. Minotaurs. That's just weird artwork, that one. Valiant Guard. I don't really want a vanilla 0. Well, no, there's better cards. I mean, imagine the algorithm's going to suggest some walls, but probably some of the more sort of 0/4, 0/5 type blue cards. Blue walls maybe, but we'll see again. It's always interesting to try and predict where the algorithm might take me. No. Curious. No, that's Domain. Darklit Gargoyle, not colour. Balm Giver. Next 1 damage. Target creature is unblockable. Oh, unblockable Leviathan. One for 3. Oh, can't play that. Can't play that. Can't play that. Or that. Yep, so now we're on to the green whites. So of course these are all off colour. There's quite a few interesting green white cards in the block as a whole, actually. Oh, this Knotville Mystic. Not something we can play in the deck, but interesting filter. There's I think in the Set Musings episode there was that filter artifact. It's something I've not really talked about in the set as a whole, but there was a number. You've got filtering cards, but also you've got multicolour mana dorks as well that don't necessarily filter. Okay, can't play that. Okay, so a mace 2/2 for 4, equip for 3. No, it doesn't really work for me. We'll play this because it was in the set. Just again filtering. Bone Saw, a 1/0 equip for 1. I'm going to play the Armillary Sphere. And we can't play the Collider Stone. So basically we've just got a little bit of utility here. I don't think there's anything here that'll force the algorithm to go anywhere a little bit weird. I don't do this very often. I did create like what do they call it? One of those like average decks for Pillow Fort in EDH Rec, just so I can see if things are going wildly off direction. Yeah, I'm going to try not to look at it too much because I don't want it to bias me too much. But yeah, I've got that off to the side just so I can cross-reference when we get to for some of the creatures. I noticed that deck had a quite low land by count. It's around 32 cards. I'm assuming that's because of the low casting cost commander. It's just getting this out as quickly as you can. I'm assuming I might want to protect this as well with like a Swiftfoot Boots. So we'll see. Let's do that. Let's just see what we get in the artifact side of things. I mean, I'm probably just going to do the usual thing of having instant sorceries and artifacts hovering somewhere either side of double figures, just depending on what gets suggested. So we are playing blue-white, so there's no harm in having a bit more filter stuff with these Azorius Signets. I'm curious as to what this is. Creatures can't attack you. Okay. So more Pillow Fort stuff. Got a Mind Stone. So do I really want to play that if I'm playing blue? I do. I do want to play the crawl space. No more than 2 creatures can attack you each combat. I like the sort of the one-sided there aspect of it. Asymmetric, I think was the word I was looking for. Some Commander Sphere. Yeah, we'll have that. And I mentioned about Swiftfoot Boots. Locket is interesting because of the card draw. So 3 to cast. 4 hybrid mana, we get to draw 2 cards. But it also fixes for blue-white. Silent Arbiter. Well, the good thing is we're certainly getting on-theme artifacts here, which is cool. That is nice, actually. Because it means I can double down with this. Okay, those are some cool suggestions. So we'll stick there. I won't go too crazy at the moment. What have we got on the Planeswalker sides? What are my blue-white Planeswalker options, if any? to see Dovin or something. Interesting. To extend to the source spells, your opponents cast one. Okay. Turn up to one target. If you draw a card. Your opponents don't attack. Okay. So it's really the ultimate. Well, there is card draw on there, but I'm always interested with the outer ones. Like, if we're going to go ultimate, what do we get out of every time we add a loyalty counter? Until your next turn, up to one target. So it locks down activated abilities and does this -3, -0 business, which we have actually seen in the set or in the block. This one, opponent's cast costs one more to end of turn. Profit. Okay. So it's always interesting with these single ability commanders that have a static ability on them. Oh. You have hexproof. It spits out defenders. Bounce. Narset. And of course Jace. Okay, well. Emblem or what I can get with this. Get 5 hits with 5 in with this. No way of adding to the loyalty unless I've got proliferate in this deck. Yeah, let me just do that. Let's have a look at the lands. See what we've got. So, usual things. It's interesting because I'm just trying to think of the one that was in the block. Was it Evolving Wilds or Terramorphic Expanse? Let me just put both in and then I'll try to find out. Oh, I didn't mean that one. What do we got here? Anything that does anything funky? Opponents and creatures your opponents control with hexproof can't be can be the target. So unhexproof stuff. Okay. I can't help it. Okay, so trying to remember how far this one goes back in terms of the printing. Look how many times that's been reprinted. So that started in Realm of the Rise of Eldrazi. We'll have that in. It won't be long before we get to Rise, so yeah. Just for fun. Now this, yeah, so this is the one that we find. So yeah, this was kicking around Time Spiral, was reprinted in 10th edition, 2011. Magic 2010. So I wonder if that's why. Yeah, it's alright. The trouble with me, I'm already like a week or so ahead, so I'm just thinking. I've seen some theme decks for the next set, which I believe had some fixing in them, and I bet they pulled them in from the core set. Anyway. Alright, let's cut this down a bit. Let's leave it low for the moment. Right. Moving on. Instants and sorceries. Yeah, this took a bit longer on land than I normally do. Okay. What have we got? So we're in blue, so obviously you want to leverage counterspell stuff. For dealing with things. That works well with the theme. Care about that. Uncounterable counterspell. There's our card draw. Might as well have a brainstorm in here. Right, what do we get from this Dawn Charm? Tap all creatures you control and all creatures target opponent controls you and that opponent each gain control of all creatures the other controls until end of turn. Ooh. Interesting. Just play that for fun. I'll do a few fun cards. Creature. There's a path to exile. Yeah, obviously makes sense to have that thing as it was in the set. Okay. Oh, plenty of ways of dealing with stuff. There you go. So we're playing white, so I would expect to see some mass removal here. Oh, of course, Supreme Verdict. Second Newcastle. What? Okay. It's cast from your hand and you've cast another spell. Okay. Yeah, I see what you could do there as an alternative win condition. Yeah, I'm going to just go with sorcery is either mass removal or interesting utility. So I'm with you. Each player may pay any amount of mana. Search target opponent's library for a creature card. Okay. Actually, I suppose I could also pinch stuff as well. What was that originally from? I thought so, Mercadian Masks. And of course this is old. Ooh, expensive. Just trying to think, what was the first black border version of this? This was in, was this in 10th? It was, wasn't it? Yeah, thought so. Right. So, we just got some enchantments and some creatures. So I suspect we're going to have quite a lot of lockdown enchantments to choose from. Creatures can't take your place. Yeah, so usual thing, Ghostly Prison, Propaganda. Okay. Yeah, so we've got Detain, stuff like that. When deals damage to you, return it. So, yeah, there's a ton of stuff here that's really cool in this deck. 2 if that player doesn't cast treasure. Okay. Interesting. Why? Cost a spell, you may draw a card. Yep. Oh, of course, O-Ring, seeing as we're playing white. lots of ways of just dealing with stuff. Oh, I do want to control magic in here. Could play a land tax, pacifism, and arrest. Each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Choose new targets for the spell. Interesting. Choose control. Mind control. So yeah, I want to pinch stuff. Who doesn't? Wow. Yeah. One thing I might get rid of. Don't think, did I have any enchantments here from the set? I think I did. Oh, this one. Yep. Let's get rid of that. Right. Okay, creatures now. So yep, room for 20 creatures, and some of these we might lose, but actually they do have interesting utility. Yeah, because of course some of these are enchantments. That's why they're in there. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we can find. This is fun. There's no, I mean, there's going to be no real good way to goldfish this deck, but I am curious as to how fast we can get the commander out. Okay, put a filibuster. Okay, so filibuster. Oh, alternative win condition. That's cool. So this is going to be mainly, yeah, like lock creatures, just lock opponents out of the game or make it difficult to attack you. Okay, that's an interesting mirroring of the ability on the commander. You may draw a card. Yep. Might as well make them suffer if they do manage to do that. Creatures can't attack you, so yeah, this is super pillow fort. Yeah, we're getting back that. Tap down. Oh yeah, Wall of Denial. This is what I was talking about. This turn can't attack. Lavinia. Yeah, so I Might be have some detained stuff come up here. Now Silent Arbiter we've already got. Consecrated Sphinx. Interesting. Azor the Lawbringer. Of course, Aven Mindcensor is in white. Yeah, that we want that. Daxos of Meletis. Can be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. We cast that card. Yeah. See, we're not really. Are we a Felidar? I mean, there's a win condition. We are gaining life, so there's a number of cards in here where we do gain life. Oh, I do. So many different cards we could play here. Grand Abolisher. And a clone. I'm going to just see. Oh, we got one too many. Just let me have a look at that. I think I'm going to order this by CMC. Does this really belong in? I mean, I just want to play it because we pulled it. I think I'm just going to end up with that in my hand, so probably not. I mean, I could end up with this in my hand, but it is only 2 blue. Creature attacks you're a planeswalker you control, you may draw a card. Right, I think I'm done with that. Yep, okay, let's just export this. So a ton of different ways you could go with this. Let me download that. Yeah, so I was just checking to see whether I'd got anything maybe boarded. So just as a cross reference, I didn't look at this at all actually. But I'm just going to bring this across. If like me you're not super familiar with Pillow Fort decks, so this is what EDH Rec suggested as a Pillow Fort deck for this commander with like the average deck feature. So if we're just sort of curious, as you can see, there's a little bit of variation here with the artifacts compared to what we got. Yeah, I mean, just obviously Maze of Ith there. I didn't bring that in, but again, like slight variations on the color fixing on the land, and I think I've got probably more utility land in my build. The instance, it's just again variations on a theme, so removal and variations thereof. Dovin, I think the same one I sort of decided on. Sorceries, yeah, a few more. Well, there's a Day of Judgment in here as well. So a little bit of they did have an Approach of the Second Sun. So, and quite a big difference in the creatures actually. Yeah, quite a big difference. But there's just so many creatures in Magic that have interesting you know, what would you call it, like lock features or features that basically just make it miserable for your opponent. That there's a vast number of things you could choose. Enchantments, again, there's a number of different enchantments in Magic which, you know, will support a pillow fort strategy. That's the word I think I'm looking for there. So yeah, some of it is quite different, but it looks like, you know, the sorceries and artifacts and land-based to some degree were not dissimilar. So back to well, I say my build, back to the build that Architect suggested for us based on the pool. Let's just see. Firstly, we might need to rebalance our stats. Oh wow, that was good. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do much here really. I mean, it's basically telling me that I want to play slightly less blue mana than white. I mean, I don't think... Is there any triple white here? I don't think there is. It's like bang on, so let's just re-export that. So the difference between the two, the second version's just got one less island and one more plains. Right, I just want to make sure we can get this out fairly fast. So we got an Exotic Orchard and a Rupture Spire, which we can't play until... Yeah, this may be crap in this deck actually. Probably don't want this sort of thing where it's quite a while before we can fix for mana. So yeah, had this not been part of Conflux, I probably wouldn't have included that. Okay, that's not... I mean... I suppose, yeah, as long as your opponent's playing blue or white, you're good. So let's just see what happens here. So I've got a Fumigate. Okay, so we can play this, providing we can... Yeah, actually it doesn't matter, because it's... We just pay one, so actually that doesn't... This works well with this. So next turn I could get this out, but of course these would both be tapped down. So yeah, so we couldn't do anything. Well, actually didn't work out quite as bad as I thought. So yeah, so we are good to go. But yeah, I'm unsure about this. So yeah, this would be out. So cast that, next turn draw, and the funsies begin. So we can get, yeah, so we can start getting out some of this stuff, like Propaganda, Silent Arbiter, turn. Yeah, once we get these lands out, what is our lands looking like? Oh, here we go, that Crawl Space. So the nice thing is, a lot of our utility is like, 3 to 4 mana. So once we've got that, once we've got a commander out, then we can start getting utility out. I don't know when our Inkwell Leviathan comes online. Let's have a look. Okay, O-Ring, Island, Plains. Well, that's a good hand, providing we get another. Yeah, we've got a detection. Yeah, so this is great. So no complaints there on that one. Oh, Felidar Sovereign. Oh, we got Reliquary Tower as well. So if we happen to, I don't think we've got an excessive amount of card draw. But yeah, and boom. So one more time. Command Tower, Reliquary Tower, and the Plains. Yeah, so that's doing well, even though we got what, 32 lands. We're fine. Getting this out. I got Unsummon, Karmic Justice. One more, 2 Plains, and a Rupture Spire. Yeah, this is good. So this looks like our first bad hand. Let's see whether we've got anything coming up. Well, yeah, this one would. Let me just think about that. 1, 2, 3. So we might be a little behind there. Island, Glacial Fortress. Yeah. And a command tower. So yeah. So no concerns there in terms of, I don't think, the getting our commander out anyway. That was pretty interesting though. I mean, a pretty miserable game for your opponents, but yeah, I like that. Okay. So have I ever got any really final thoughts on that? It's difficult for me to comment because I'm not too familiar with this style, but so off the top of my head I can't think, oh yeah, if we put this card in it would improve it. I would basically just have to look at that that one I ran off quickly, which was just an EDH rec build of the average deck for Pillow Fort. So if actually interesting enough, there's any anybody out there watching the video that plays a lot of Pillow Fort, I would be curious to know like what you consider to be the best commander for that style of deck. Yeah, that would be good to know. I mean, I could go on to EDH Rec and look it up. I'm sure if I look up a strategy of Pillow Fort, it's going to tell me. But I'm always interested in what the watchers of my videos think from their own experience of the game. That's always cool to find that out. There's Azor the Lawbringer. I mean, the funny thing is, whenever I think of sort of blue-white decks, I suppose I can't help thinking about Sphinxes. Like, so yeah, let me know as well if anybody's attempted to build like a Sphinx tribal deck, and how that worked out for them, because it's again something else that's entered my mind, but I don't think I've ever gone there. So there we have it. It's interesting episode. I really enjoyed this, even though of course most of the effort is not me, is this algorithm that generates the decks. But I'm always curious to see what comes up. I suppose if I'd been really thinking ahead, I could have done an on-the-fly comparison between the Architect one, because it does tap into the EDH Rec one as well if you want to. But it would have meant that I would have had to have 2 tabs open, like doing a side-by-side build. That would actually, no, I don't even go there, because I know that opens up a whole can of worms starting to do that. Side-by-side builds, one using Architect out their recommender, and the other one using EDH Rec as their recommender. But I don't really want to do that. I quite like using the Architect one because of its sort of quirkiness and how you do get slightly different suggestions as well. So yeah, thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be the Friday artwork video. So cheers.